Today's episode is brought to you by Harbour Dance Centre, located in downtown Vancouver, British Columbia. Harbour Dance Centre is a place to explore what dance is to the individual. Whether it's the music, the movement, an artist, or a familiar memory, your body can create a stimulus for the mind that brings a sense of harmony. The result is a feeling of personal growth that can expand to all aspects of life. It's not just a dance class. It's giving your body life, connectivity, and challenge. With over 100 drop-in classes a week and a variety of workshops, you'll find a class that you love. Please visit www.harbordance.com for class schedules and more information. We're back. I hope that everyone is staying safe, healthy, and doing well amidst this pandemic. It's been over 4 months since we last released an episode on the Unplugged podcast, and in that time, we've been learning and unlearning, continuing to provide resources and tips to our community locally and abroad, and also launched a new show called The Artistic Process with Julia Tripoli. Over the next few weeks, we'll be releasing episodes from guests who reside in the Vancouver area. Now, since we rebranded back in November of 2019, we knew that our platform was also needed in other dance communities across the country. With our recent trip to Vancouver, we got to know more about the Vancouver dance scene, what it offers, and how we as an organization can lend support. Our first guest today in our Vancouver series is Missy Reyes. Missy is a graphic designer by day and a dancer by night. She is also a choreographer and director at PraiseTEAM Performing Arts Company. For over 18 years, she has trained in hip-hop, contemporary ballet, and musical theater. She has traveled to different parts of North America to train, watch shows, and take inspiration wherever she goes. She has been a part of PraiseTEAM's elite senior showcase crew since 2006 and became the director in 2009. Since then, the team has competed at World Hip Hop International Dance Championships, World of Dance Finals, Vibe Dance Competition, Body Rock in San Diego, and America's Got Talent. She was part of the 2010 Vancouver Paralympics opening ceremony and choreographed for the Vancouver We Day flash mobs. She loves using her movement to tell stories, train future leaders of Vancouver, and she wishes to continue to travel around the world to be an inspiration wherever she goes. In her episode, we talk about the connection between spirituality and dance, challenges that she's faced during this uncertain time, and how she's using her voice as a female POC to affect change in her community. We're really excited for you to hear what she has to say, so without further ado, here's episode 40 called Praise and Devotion with Missy Reyes. Recording from downtown Vancouver, this is episode 40 with dancer, choreographer, graphic designer, and director of PraiseTEAM, Missy Reyes. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, such an honor to finally meet you and hopefully get to know you a little bit better in person. How have you been?
I've been good. It's been crazy. That's all I can say. Surviving, trying to thrive.
Yes, 100%, as all of us are trying to during this pandemic. We'll kind of start with the usual question that I ask everyone. Where does your journey in dance begin?
Yeah, my journey in dance began when, with my mom, or when I was born. She was a ballet dancer in the Philippines, along with my aunt. And yeah, so ever since I was 3 years old, I would be watching her dance at shows, and I was told that I would go on stage and just move my body and just go crazy. And so that's when they knew I was going to follow in my mom's footsteps and become a dancer. We moved to Dubai when I was around 5-6 years old, and my mom was a teacher there, elementary school teacher, and she would always be the one to sort of organize little plays and little dance numbers, and I would always be part of it. That's how I kept dancing throughout living in Dubai. And then a couple of years later, we moved to Canada, and I took dance at this place called Surrey Society of Performing Arts. It was mainly ballet and jazz. And they also taught Ukrainian dance. So I have a little bit of
Ukrainian folk dancing.
yeah. I had those fun outfits with flowers.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. And my mom always had a dream that she wanted to open up a dance studio. She wasn't sure if she should do it, but then my dad really encouraged her to follow her dream. And she was like, what will I call it? What will it be about? And yeah, we always listened to this radio station called Praise 106.5. And that's kind of where they got the name Praise, because my mom, wants us to use our bodies to serve God. And that's our team quote is like, Christ will be exalted through my body. So we use the talents that God gave us for the good. And to spread good messages. And that's how PraiseTEAM began. PraiseTEAM actually stands for Praise Theater, Ensemble, and Arts Ministry. That's what TEAM stands for.
Nice.
Yeah. And we started off actually in this parish hall. It was like a very small carpeted upstairs room. There was only 7 of us. And we only did ballet and jazz, and just like my mom taught all the classes. And yeah, and it was just like a bunch of like friends, my mom's friends, kids, from Couples for Christ that came and took dance classes. It was just like a really small community. Fast forward a few years later, we got a couple of people coming in to teach us hip hop. And I think that one really stuck. I guess like hip hop was like the cool trend at the time and even now. And so that's kind of where we sort of developed more of our style, like hip hop, but mixed still with like ballet and jazz, kind of inspired by all of those. I'm supposed to be talking about my dance journey, but really my dance journey was like pretty much PraiseTEAM, because like it's my family's company. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll get into PraiseTEAM in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess throughout your journey, you mentioned your mom, your dad.
Yeah.
Are there any other individuals or maybe organizations that played an integral role in your development as a person, as a dancer?
Yeah. I used to watch So You Think You Can Dance a lot, as I think everyone did. And that's what got me really interested in learning a lot of different styles, ballroom dancing, musical theater. And that was the thing that I would come back to every week. We also, in like some of the variety shows that we went to, we saw Pure Dance, Natasha Gori and Natalie Gori and Shadi, I think that was his name. Yeah, that was like the first time I like saw hip hop live, and it was just so cool. And I thought that I still think so, but they were like the coolest like hip hop studio, and they were so inspirational to me. I think like later on in high school and going into college, I think that's when YouTube started getting really popular. I think the first video that I watched was Cabo Modern's set. I can't remember where
was it from America's Best Dance Crew?
No, it wasn't. It was from a dance competition. I don't know if it was like Vibe or Fusion or one of those, but
it probably would have been the ones before Body Rock, maybe.
Yeah. It was definitely not Body Rock, but I saw we all were so obsessed with Cabo Modern. They were inspirations, and then I think the next inspirational video that kind of really sparked like creativity and like a fire in me was seeing Common Ground's Army set. That, I don't know, that was so good. I'm like, so that's what we can do with dance and hip hop and storytelling. Like, I want to be like that. That was like the dance number that made me want to do more storytelling and dance sort of together. Those were my big inspirations. And then America's Best Dance Crew came in. Me and my brother and a couple of other friends actually flew over to like audition, and you get through the next level, but everyone's so good. But it was still like a crazy experience. So that was awesome. I think those were the things that sort of sparked like the fire in me with dance.
That's great. Sorry, we're gonna talk a little bit about PraiseTEAM, and based on my research and before we obviously turned on the mics and talked, it's my understanding that this organization has obviously been around for a long time, to be exact, 23 years.
Yes.
And it's obviously grown over the years. And I've had the pleasure of not seeing you guys. Actually, I have seen you guys live once, but also seeing your sets on like YouTube and stuff like that. And some of the sets that you guys put together with the themes and the stories is just phenomenal.
Thank you.
And one set in particular that is a huge favorite of mine is obviously the Wizard of Oz one, because like brilliant, incorporating multiple styles and still kind of complement the story of what the Wizard of Oz is about, which I think was great. If you get a chance on YouTube, just search it up. It's an HHI set.
Yeah, I'm Dorothy.
Just take a look at it. It's one of my favorite sets to watch. But yeah, I just want to go back into that. Can you give our listeners, I guess, a brief understanding of what PraiseTEAM is about? What principles are they founded on? What values do you guys kind of hold true to the organization, and how you kind of tie dance into all of that?
We believe that, we've been given the talent and the gift of movement and dancing and song, and we want to give it back by using our bodies to share positive messages and tell stories that can inspire others. And that's like one of our biggest goals. We want us to just be more than just dancers. We want to be, good people. We want to be good leaders, serving and giving back to the community. And so that's one of the focuses that we have. So we just want to be more than just dancers. We want to be messengers.
Now, PraiseTEAM, that's like the whole conglomerate, right? Like that's the big company team, I guess you can say. But you guys also have like other ones, right? You've got Praise Teens.
Yes.
You've got, I don't know, maybe help me out here.
Yeah.
Name a few other ones.
Yeah, we've got Praise Teens, we've got Cookies and Cream, Junior Showcase. We actually have a lot of classes. We offer all the styles, but the teams are the ones that go out and compete and that perform at different events and competitions. On top of PraiseTEAM, there's actually it used to be called Senior Showcase, but when we would go to competitions, it would be called PraiseTEAM just to represent everyone together. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this question again because I asked this question before we turned on the mics because I was just curious, and I'm sure everyone else is curious to know about this too. But because PraiseTEAM has a spiritual and a religious influence, was the company at any point derived from any YFC type stuff? Like, did that derive from any YFC related groups or stuff like that?
Yeah. We didn't come from YFC. My parents were in Couples for Christ, and at some point, almost 80%, 90% of us were also in YFC or KFC, which was really nice. It was cool to have both worlds kind of together. And also, how YFC has those dance competitions.
Yep.
That one helped out a lot.
100%. Sorry, for those who are just absolutely just have no clue what we're talking about, YFC stands for Youth for Christ. Yes. CFC stands for Couples for Christ, and KFC stands for Kids for Christ. So do maybe look it up on Google if you're just still curious to know what all of that's about.
Yeah.
Throughout the 23 years, PraiseTEAM obviously been around. It must have had some very memorable moments for you. Maybe you want to tell us about some of those moments. What were some standout moments?
Standout moments. Honestly, in the very beginning years, I think every time we had year-end shows were super memorable for us. Year-end shows or productions are basically recitals, but we always add a story to it. We have actors and singers, and we don't just have the dances running one after the other. We have a script, and we actually have auditions for the characters that come. And for a whole month, we would kind of come together almost every day as a whole company and just put this show together, and that's one of the most memorable things that like I won't forget. I know it's hard lately with everyone being busy and with the pandemic, and so we weren't able to do that this year. But yeah, I will always remember those as a big memory. I think another one was when we first attended HHI, Hip Hop International, because although, you know, we like to say what we're doing is like hip hop, obviously, like this is another conversation as to like what the definition of real hip hop. But we definitely were a lot different from the other teams. And there was that worry, like, are we going to be made fun of? Are we going to be really different? But we'll just go. We'll just do what we normally do. And so we went there with our set called Silly Love Songs. It was about love through the ages, from like, you know, childhood love to teenage love. And then, you know, they get married and then they grow old. And somehow, like, people responded to it really well. The story resonated with everyone because it's basically life. And I think that was very memorable for us, and reassuring to us that, you know, even if we're different, you know, there's nothing wrong with just like staying true to yourself and who you are.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's crazy. Can they find this video anywhere?
Yes, I think you can search HHI 2011 Praise Team, something like that.
That was a while ago.
The quality is not very good.
Yeah, it's probably 480p, 340p.
And it took like months before the video came out. Now it's like next day edit.
yeah, 100%. Okay.
Yeah.
Has HHI, or like, I mean, these other, you know, competitions that allowed the team to kind of branch out, has that always been like a goal for the group? Because from what it seems, or at least from what I'm gathering, when PraiseTEAM first started out, it was always supposed to be heavily community based, right? Mm-hmm. Was, you know, competing for other competitions that were kind of outside that community always something that you guys wanted to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it wasn't always our goal to compete. For like the first 10 years, we didn't compete. And it was just my mom's dream to start a dance company and to just give a space and an opportunity for people that may not have the means, to just give them a place to dance and to learn and to move together and find a way to worship in a different way, mm-hmm. and using their bodies and their talents. And it was, I think our first competition ever was actually a high school dance competition. It was like it was Notre Dame's dance competition, and obviously we didn't place, like we've never competed before. And then just like each year, just like the fire grew within us. I wasn't actually like the teacher from the beginning. We had a lot of like amazing teachers like Julio and Atamairo and Christina Paule. They were like our first sort of like teachers that brought us out, mm-hmm. into the world. And yeah, that's how we started competing more. We did IDC. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's a lot of like studio competitions. Our first like Cali competition was Maxed Out. We went there 2007.
Wow.
Yeah. We didn't place, but we got like audience favorite, and I think we believe that it was our parents that voted for us. Yeah, so that was our first one, and that was fun. It was like there's like no pressure. We just wanted to go out there. We were excited to be in Cali, and then we went to Disneyland. It was just fun. Yeah, and now like competition has like, and traveling has become like such a big part of it. We love going to different places and just like letting people know, I guess, what we're about. Mm-hmm. Not in an aggressive way, but just saying, you know, this is what we're about. This is what we believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and there's obviously something beautiful about that. One thing I do want to ask, because there's obviously a lot of competitive teams out in Toronto as well, who don't sometimes have the luxury of being able to travel. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I do want to ask you is like, how are you guys able to do that? Like, do you guys fundraise? Like, how are you able to kind of like build the funding to be able to go out?
Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of fundraisers. We would go to every mass and sell what did we sell? Oh, we sold like tapsilog, langsilog.
Hold that thought. This is a Filipino thing, by the way. I'm not going to explain, but it's Filipino breakfast is what they're selling, okay?
Yeah. So we sold those and just a bunch of like baking goods that we made. So we would just show up at every mass, and every time people came out, we would just like try to sell it, say that we're fundraising, and everyone was pretty supportive. Mm-hmm. We also did car washes.
Awesome.
That was fun as well. And oh yes, and then in the summertime we do summer dance workshops. That was also our fundraiser to get people in. No, that was our fundraiser.
Okay.
I don't know why there was more to that sentence.
Cool. Okay, so one thing I am curious to know is that you operate PraiseTEAM Studios, but you operate out of another space, or you rent out a space to offer your classes. I guess my question is, like, over that time, have you had the thought of at least opening your own space? Mm-hmm. Was that ever a possibility, or even a discussion at some point?
Yeah, owning our own studio and our own space and our own home is like one of the biggest dreams we've been wanting to achieve. It's been ongoing, but it's also really important for us to keep our prices to where people can afford it. Mm-hmm. We want to give everyone an opportunity to be able to dance, even if they might not have a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's really important for us. So I would say it's like a big money thing. We've done like Indiegogo. Vancouver is really expensive.
Yeah, definitely is. Very similar to Toronto. Very similar.
It's really expensive. We have a lot of classes going on at once, so to be able to get the right space that we want, I guess we're pretty ambitious. So we haven't found the right spaces, and the ones that we did find that could have worked, I don't know, something happens. For some reason, like, it hasn't been given to us yet. Mm-hmm. And it's still something that we're praying about and still working towards, mm-hmm. while sticking true to like our main mission.
That's great. I just want to talk briefly about this because obviously we're still in a pandemic. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, like, how has this pandemic been for you personally? And for PraiseTEAM as a group? Like, what has this pandemic kind of taught you? And what things have you had to kind of adapt to, I guess, or had to change to keep all of this kind of going?
For me personally, I would say at first, one, it was scary. Two, I was like, I get to work from home. I don't need to get changed. I don't need to drive 45 minutes to get to work. This is cool, and I like being indoors. So that was exciting. And then moving things to Zoom and just like learning new things, that was exciting. But you don't realize that, like, all the change and just like being cooped up inside the house, that it really gets to you a lot. And you start thinking like, what's the point of everything?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we were honestly like, I mean, in our past episode with Mo, we were talking about Zoom and how it has, in a way, brought like given people another opportunity to dance. But now that like the economy has kind of slowly opened up, people are inching to get back into the studio space because you can't replicate an energy that you get in a room behind a screen. You can't do that. Yeah. So I thought it was very interesting. You're talking about Zoom and all that. So yeah.
Well, I think one cool thing is that you can connect from people from far away.
Yes, and
right?
It has definitely made the world a lot smaller. Yeah, which has been great.
Yeah, so like you can have like Carlo Dorang from Koyo Cookies like teach us without like flying him over here, and that was fun. And I'm currently taking like a class or like a workshop from like Chris Martin and Larkin, who are like my absolute idols.
Nice.
And like I don't need to go all the way to San Diego to do that, which is awesome. But yeah, definitely like if you're in a bunch of classes, and also for work, you have to jump onto Zoom. If you're on screen for how many hours, you're just like, I can't. I need to go outside. I gotta close my eyes. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And it's also hard to learn through Zoom. One, because everyone's Wi-Fi is different, and then the other one is like mirroring, and you just don't see all the details in there. I think aside from, I think like it's a blessing to have Zoom, because you still get to dance, you still get to see people's faces, and you still get to talk to them. But if we're getting like technical into like actually learning dance, and that being sustainable, like it's extra work to just be able to learn dance through a screen.
Gotcha. Have you considered, I guess, like pre-recording any online classes like other studios have done as well to try to generate some sort of revenue?
Yes, we did. We actually, for my team, we started off with Zoom, and then we're like, okay, everyone's kind of miserable right now. So let's try doing pre-recorded classes and seeing how that goes for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That did work for some people, not for everyone. One, it's extra work for the teacher to film themselves and make it a clear enough sort of tutorial video. That's that's extra hours of work, especially if you don't do it a lot.
Yeah.
And then one good thing is that people can kind of do it in their own time, and then it gives you extra time when you do meet up to do other things. So it's good for some people.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Zoom. Like, it's good for some people, and some people just like can't do it. So there's like pros and cons for both. For me, I don't know which I like better. I like Zoom because I get to ask the students like where they're at and how they feel, even if it's,
you're able to, what you're saying is like you're able to give more attention to people individually.
Yeah. And I get to ask them like, do you want me to do it again? Like, are you getting this? Do you have any questions? You don't really get to do that with tutorial videos. Although tutorial videos are clearer, but I do like interacting with my students.
100%.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, as a person of color, as a woman of color, that is also in a position of power, how are you using your position or your voice to affect change in your community?
When I was put in the position of leading, it didn't really occur to me that like, oh, how am I going to do this as a woman, and how am I going to do this as a Filipino? Because I think I had such a large and supportive community. And then my family too, they're so encouraging, they're so loving, that I never thought that there would be any, that there would be anything like holding me back, that there was no like constraints. And so I kind of I just did it without second thoughts. And now like we're getting more aware of kind of what's going on and what's going on out there. And I realize that there's more that I could be teaching. I'm just like learning how women are being mistreated in the industry, and I didn't realize that before. I was just doing it, and I think I want to learn how to be able to reach out to other girls and to actually understand like how they're feeling, and kind of share what I was able to do successfully, like the kind of mindset that I was able to have, so that I was able to lead with no constraints. Because really the mindset that women have right now is basically what was taught to them growing up.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, I can help like other girls like realize like there's nothing holding you back, and anything that anyone says, I think it doesn't matter anymore. I think the world is changing. And so, yeah.
That's great. To wrap things up, where would you like to see the Vancouver dance scene in the next 5 years?
For me, there's so much work to do. I think we're still growing, and I think we're still learning, and we're realizing in like since the last couple of months that there's so much work and learning to be done. I think that we started coming together like a couple of years ago. We had one big leaders meeting to talk about like issues, and we haven't done it since, and I want us to do that more. And I want us to just like kind of work together to feel united and to just have like a better understanding of, you know, how Vancouver, or how we can help build each other up together and not separated. I also feel that, like, you know, there's no way to avoid people having different opinions, but I think we can be more respectful for each other. And I think that's, I think that's what I want from us, to have like more respect, helping each other rise. And I think we could also bring back, I would love for us to bring back like shows, not competitions, but like shows.
Like showcases and
Yeah,
stuff.
showcases. We haven't done that in a while. And I know because of the pandemic, it'll be a while, but I think for us to work together on something that we've created together, I think that's something that I want for our Vancouver dance community. And I want like the world to like look at us and say like, wow, Vancouver's so inspiring. Like they did that, they created that. Like it's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Missy, a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show. Did you want to, before we let you go, did you want to just drop all your socials? Like how can people follow you directly? How can people know more about PraiseTEAM? Do you guys have anything coming up that you want to drop?
Yeah. So my personal Instagram account is Missy.Reyes, MISSY.REYES. I'm mostly on Instagram. I go on Twitter, but only to look at other people's tweets. I don't really tweet myself.
Guilty.
So that you can. I still go on Facebook, so find me, Missy Reyes. PraiseTEAM, you can follow on Instagram at PraiseTEAM Studio. And coming up, our year's starting. 2 weeks from now, we have our auditions coming up for our competitive teams on September 8th. So come through if you're listening from Vancouver. And we have YouTube. I think we're just PraiseTEAM Studio on YouTube. Follow us.
Amazing. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. For those listening, again, you can follow the Unplugged podcast on Instagram at the Danceplug Pod. Make sure to follow thedanceplug.ca on Instagram and visit our website at www.thedanceplug.ca for all the resources and such. Reason why we're doing all these interviews in Vancouver is because we do want to be able to reach out and provide the same resources like we've done in Toronto here in Vancouver as well. So by having all these interviews with local people from Vancouver, we're able to kind of know more about the city and then hopefully provide some of those resources that can help some of the dancers here kind of propel and move their careers forward. As always, my name is Roy. I'm the host of the Unplugged podcast, and we will see you guys soon.